Paul Ott from Summit Edge Realty, coming with your Heart of Kentucky MLS analysis from January 27th through February 2nd. Let's head to the computer, check out those numbers.
Alrighty, so let's get into the numbers here. This year we had 90 new listings. I remember last week we had 32, but this 90 is more than we've seen over the last 4 years. All right, so we had 755 total inventory, which is a jump up from last year and kind of middle of the road for over the last 4 years. 48 under contract, which matches what we had last year, a bit less than last week, and lower than it's been outside of last year for the previous 4 years. Now, last year, remember, we only had 5 go under contract in the first 7 days. Now, in the last week's video, so 2 weeks ago, we had 5. Over the last week there, we had 11 go under contract in the first 7 days, and that is actually still pretty low compared to the previous 4 years. As far as closed, we're back up to more than we've seen over the last 2 years, right? Not quite the 2021, 2022 level, but still a pretty good pace of closed there for into January, beginning of February. Had 54 price reductions, which is the highest for the week, same week of the year over the last 4 years, higher than last week. I thought we had a lot last week, right? So days on the market, again, remember last week's video, I talked about how 83 seemed very high, and that was skewed by both the low number of closed and a few of those that had been on the market for a substantial period of time before they went pending. So we're back to 36, which is a bit more than we were last year, way better than it was in 2023, and the market, as you remember, was pretty hopping back in 2021, 2022. We look at interest rates, down a little bit from last week, quite a bit from 2 weeks ago. But then when we look back over the few years before that, right, we're up a bit, but we're still within a half a percentage point. And then obviously 2021 and 2022, those were the days, I guess you could say, very low interest rates. But I don't want to repeat those years, so I'm hoping we don't see that again. So then going from the 2024 column in here, right, we just expand that out over the next 4 weeks of last year. So for new listings, it was high last year this week compared to the next month, right? February took kind of a downturn in new listings. Total inventory climbed, though, over the next 4 months, right? And as you can see, we were just under the under contracts were lower than the new listings, right? Which is how we get that climbing total inventory. Under contracts in 7 days, the 16 was kind of middle of the road over the next month. And then closed, again, matched most of the next month. And then there's beginning of March, it jumped up quite a bit to 54. Price reduction, pretty much in line. All right, 1 week a bit higher, 1 week a bit lower, but 19 and 22, that fairly matches the 20, right? Days on market, kind of jumping around on this, but the 31 is sort of in the middle of the bracket for what we saw over the next 4 weeks last year. And then interest rates, kind of interesting that they began to climb consistently over the next 4 weeks last year. So interested to see what happens this year. So as far as what does that mean? What does it mean for anybody? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for our clients? New listings, if you notice, or if you remember last week, I talked about how everybody that is looking for houses has seen what's on the market. Well, they just got 90 new homes to look at. Obviously, not everybody's going to be looking for everything of that 90, but people have more choices now than they did. Inventory is climbing up from last week, still down from last year, right? Higher than it was a few years ago. 2022 was kind of bonkers. 2021 had a higher inventory, but then last week, I talked about if you look at how many closed go into the total inventory, I said I don't think we're going to see what we keep seeing here, and we're not. The number of closed bounced right back up to 48. So for easy, hopefully correct mental math this week, hopefully I don't have a correction, right? If you just say 50 for my ease of math, Then there's 250s and 100, and we're looking at 7.5 hundreds. So that would be 15 weeks worth of inventory, which is 3.5 months. That feels a lot more right to me from what I'm seeing. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to see some feedback and some engagement on this. Price reduction continues to climb. I think people that have been on the market are ready to make a deal, right? Not everybody, right? Not all the homes are mispriced. Some of it's just, for the homes that were on the market 36 days ago, that was right in the, well, at this point, it was right after the holidays, right? So if you got a home, went on maybe the beginning of November, we had Thanksgiving, and then we had Christmas, and then we had a whole month of pretty, what I would consider nasty weather, right? Weather I don't like living through. I live in, I guess it's officially the South. I don't live in Michigan, right? And we had what I would consider to be Michigan weather. So I'm not very pleased with January weather. I think it really shows in the numbers that we had, and hopefully we come out of that. And interest rates down a little bit from last week, but like I said, it's holding out. We're at historical averages, which a lot of people I've talked to, they don't seem to understand that. Everybody's thinking back to 2021, 2022, and they think, oh, 6 or 7, that's really high interest rates, but it's not historically. Historically, we're at average, and then some lenders can get better deals than this, or advertising better deals than this. And then kind of strangely, sometimes if you go through a mortgage broker, they can get a better interest rate from the same lender than you could on your own. So just a little something to keep in mind when you're having conversations with your clients there. And so this is a bit unexpected that inventory is climbing. Expected inventory to go down through the beginning of the first quarter of the year. But we'll see what it looks like next year. Next week. And good to see that contract under 7 days climbed up, and the closings jumped up quite a bit there. So I think things are moving apace. January is normally a bit of a slow month. It's not what my team really saw. And these numbers are showing that there's quite a bit of opportunity there. We just need to find the opportunity that exists. Thanks for joining me, and please leave a comment. Thanks.